This video is going to be a BoOkIsH Q&A. If you're not interested in that, then that's fine. There should be a video up maybe Sunday, which will be my weekly wrap-up, because I've read quite a few things, but I'm just going to get straight into the Q&A. So I'm taking it from the Q&A video that I put out the other day, and also a Q&A video which I put out in October, and I never answered those questions. Very rude of me, I'm sorry. So, I'll just get straight into it. So first up, Knowledge Lost asks, nice channel name change. Does this mean there will be no more beauty? Yes, there will probably not be any beauty. There will be just random stuff, because I was going to call the channel Hannah Books, but then I thought I'm not just going to put book videos on here. You know, I have my random odd stuff that I put on as well. So yeah, but I think beauty, you know, there are people who are actual makeup artists or like fashion people who actually know more of what they're talking about, and so yeah, I'm not really going to be doing beauty on this channel. He also asks, what is your experience with books in translation? I really like books in translation. I think I've read, I don't know if is Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House, was that translated? Because I absolutely love that. More recently I read The Guest Cat, which was translated from Japanese. Of course, the Ring books are translated. I really like translated fiction, and I really want to read a book. It's called First Love, and I can't remember who the author is, but it's a very famous Russian short story, and I really want to read that. So yeah, I really like translated fiction. If you've got any recommendations, then leave them below. But yeah, no, I do like translated fiction, and I haven't ever experienced any problems with it. You know, some people are like, oh, certain things get lost in translation. I haven't really experienced that. I just really like them. So yeah. Oh, and another question from him is, do you have any reading goals, lifelong or yearly goals? I don't have any lifelong goals, but I want to read 50 books this year. That's my target. That's my goal. Last year I set the goal of reading 100 books, and that was too ambitious for me. And I really got disheartened by it, and it really affected my reading, I felt, because at the end of the year I was like, oh my god, I have to cram loads of books, and obviously I didn't finish those books because, you know, stress reading doesn't work. So yeah, just 50 books this year, but if I don't reach that, I'm not going to like beat myself up over it, because I am reading quite a few big books. So, you know, I'm currently reading Oliver Twist, and I think that's 500 pages, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it too much. A question from Lego of My Books is, to what extent, if any, do your reading habits define you? I would say I learn everything from most books, not all books, but most books. I feel they kind of educate me, so that defines me and who I'm like gonna be when I'm like 5 years on or 10 years on. I think it does really help. Like when I read the graphic novel Persepolis, I didn't know about like Iranian culture or Islamic State or anything about Muslim culture, and so that book really educated me about that. And you know, The Colour Purple really educated me again about kind of race, but also about like feeling trapped within violent situations, because it's not something I've experienced. And I think often we can be very naive, and I can be like, well, if you're in a violent situation, just leave. But then if that person has no kind of power to leave, or money or facilities, like it can take a long time till they leave that situation. And so yeah, I think every book I read kind of shapes me in some way. I hope that answers your questions, and I'm sorry if this is like moving, it's because it's on the bed. Sorry about that. Zombie Eats Books asks, one book that most everyone on the planet raves about but that you hated. The Great Gatsby. That was awful, sorry. I really don't like The Great Gatsby. I don't hate it, and I think, you know, I wrote an essay on The Great Gatsby, and that's what got me into university, but I really hate Gatsby. I think he's a spoiled brat, and I think that's never, oh my god, I think that's never spoken about. Is my scarf. Today I just wanted to make a really quick this video. My scarf like tapped on this and changed it, but I think it's never put in the book how much of a spoiled little brat he is, to be fair. But anyway, I wrote an essay on that, and that's what got me into the university, so I kind of owe it like something. And there's great imagery, like the green light outside Daisy's house can like represent envy. So he's envious of it, and it also represents money. And so, you know, F. Scott Fitzgerald is incredibly clever, the way he uses the light and different stuff like that. There's a lot of like symbolism within the book. Like, he's very clever. I just really don't like that book. I just really think he's a horrible man, and I think Gatsby is living in a very difficult time for being a woman, and it's never addressed. You know, at that time, if you were a woman and you got divorced, that would be like a mark on you. That would just be like, ugh, she's a divorcee, stay away from her, kind of thing. I'm actually reading The Tenant of Winfell Hall, and that kind of deals with that kind of like mark on you. So, yeah. Or vice versa. So, a book that I loved and everyone hated. That's interesting. I don't think I do. Well, some people don't like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and I adore that. So maybe that one. Maybe The Crucible, actually, by Arthur Miller. A lot of people don't tend to like that. That's obviously about the Salem witch trials, and I love it. So maybe that. It's a very shouty play. It's very intense, but I do enjoy it. Kizzy Reads asks, is there one book in which a story just absolutely stayed with you over the years? I would say Susan Cason's Girl Interrupted, which is a book about Susan's experiences in a mental hospital. That has always stayed with me. That kind of, the biggest thing in your life might not be what someone does to you or what you do to someone else. It might be your own mind. And I think that feeling of like your mind's kind of betrayed you. I really like reading books about mental health, because the fact that it's like you don't have to do anything wrong, and your mind can just, you know, wrong you in so many different ways. That is a very interesting thing. I know not like some mental health like stuff is brought on by someone does do something bad to you or like different stuff, but some people are just born with like mental health problems. And so I think, you know, Girl Interrupted really stayed with me. And that kind of, she feels, because she is in a mental hospital, so she obviously can't get out, and that feeling of being trapped, but you don't know what to do to stop yourself being trapped. Like, she's not a criminal, she hasn't committed a crime, she's kind of trapped within her own mind. I just thought it was just a stunning book, really, to be honest. Rio Reads asks, what is a book you would recommend to everyone? I would probably want like an easy read book. I always say Mary Shelley's Frankenstein because it got me into reading, but I actually think it might be quite a hard book, because sometimes people will like say, I tried to get into it, Hannah, but I didn't, and someone left a comment on my video the other day saying I tried to get into it and I just couldn't. So maybe something like Tracy Chevalier's Girl with the Pearl Earring. I think it's a stunning story. It's also a very easy read. Tracy Chevalier is very, you know, easy to read, but it's still beautiful writing, so maybe that would be more like a universal book, and like a book to get people into reading. Time and Chance. Pick 5 books you'd like to read and pick a different booktuber. Oh my god, this is like a challenge. For each of these books that you'd like to do a read along with. Okay, so 5 books and the booktubers I'd like to read the books with. Oh, I have so much more than 5 though. Okay, probably Knowledge Lost, who asked a question earlier. I probably want to read some kind of translated fiction with him, because I know he's into translated fiction, and I think we have just like really similar tastes in books. RG Devilship, I'd like to read something with her, maybe like a really classic horror book, so like The Amityville Horror, something like along those lines. Oh my god, it's so difficult. Like, I just read anything with anyone, but no, yeah, I don't know. I fail. Probably actually Shelley from Collie of the Wobbles. I'd like to read something like really comical and humorous, do a read along with her, because I think that would be really funny. But yeah, no, just anything with it. I think it depends on like who it's with, and yeah, and I really like Spindlefingers, so she's really into Lord of the Rings, so maybe something adventure style with her, maybe. But yeah. Ella Fit asks, if you could invite 3 authors, dead or alive, to a tea party, who would they be and why? Okay, 3. So Alice Walker, straight away. Absolutely love Alice Walker. And I said in my like New York by the Book Times tag, which is a great tag, why with her, because I want to talk to her about her writing and how she comes up with those characters. Probably Mary Shelley, because I think like she was really interesting as a person. She went through a lot, like she had a lot of miscarriages, and that's why people think she wrote Frankenstein, because it's about the creation of like almost like a child, like a thing, the creation behind that. It's a very interesting thing. And her mum was very like forward thinking, so you would think Mary Shelley would be as well. And yeah, I don't know, maybe Dickens. I enjoy Dickens. There's so many people that I want to meet that are alive though, like Alison Weir, Tracy Chevalier. You know, there's so many, like Toni Morrison, so many people that I'm just like, yeah, I'd love to meet them. I would love to have met Arthur Miller, I really would. But yeah, they're my ones. Like, things gone off. But yeah, loads of people really. Read, write, scribble asks, favourite bookish genre and book. Favourite bookish genre is always horror. Always. Sorry, there's like people shouting. Always horror, absolutely love it. What is that? My favourite book, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Although I really do like Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. I was thinking about that the other day, and how I always say, you know, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, or The Colour Purple by Alice Walker, or Living by the Word by Alice Walker, which is a short story collection, or The Girl with the Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier, you know, Girl Interrupted by Susan Kaysen, all these books that I've like mentioned in this video, because they're the books that I haven't actually read any of them recently, but they're always at the forefront of my mind, and they're always kind of the scale that I hold everything up to. I'm like, well, was it as good as, you know? But Arthur Miller's Death of the Salesman, it really did move me. So maybe that should be in the list as well. Maybe that is my favourite play. Actually, it's not my favourite play. I like Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House, to be honest. That is an amazing play. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's very difficult to like see what ones. But yeah, I don't think I have a favourite book. I just have too many favourite books. That's probably why I have like a booktube channel. I can just like talk. And also Tracy Chevalier's Fallen Angels. Even though it wasn't a 5-star book for me, I still think it was fantastic. Like, it's still a book that the characters will kind of stay with me. Oh, Frances Hodgson Burnett's A Little Princess. Like, the list goes on. Don't even ask me that question. It's too much. Clinos Thomas. Hi, Clinos. We pen pal together. What are your fave Anne Boleyn books? I have only read... I'm reading one which is like Anne Boleyn and Me. My bookshelves there. It's like a diary one, which I really like. I started reading its historical fiction, and it's called The Other Boleyn Girl, I believe. And yeah, I didn't like that, but I think that's because I wasn't just in the right frame of mind. But I don't actually read any Anne Boleyn books, but I tell you what I do. I go on something which is called the Anne Boleyn Files. It's a website, it's free to go on. And it's just run by 2 women, and they tell you all facts about Anne Boleyn and everything you'd want to know. When any new like information comes up, or any, you know, different stuff, they put it on there. And yeah, it's just really interesting. And so yeah, definitely I'd say the Anne Boleyn Files are incredible. I think one of the women has also written a book, which I want to get, which is about Anne Boleyn. But no, they're always putting like new stuff up. Like when people say, oh, is this a picture of Anne Boleyn? 'Cause a lot of her pictures were destroyed. They're always like, you know, will say whether it is or isn't, or different facts come up. So yeah, the Anne Boleyn Files is where I get my Anne Boleyn the Anne Boleyn information. Firekind 1980. Any genre you won't touch. No, I will read every single genre. I mean, I've even read erotica. Like, I don't mind any genre. I think to really enjoy books, you have to, like, branch out. Because, I'll be honest with you, I would just read horror all day, every day, and never read any other genre, because that's my favourite genre of anything. But, when you actually, you know, The Guest Cat wouldn't have been a book I would have gone, oh, I thought I would like that. You know, it's translated from Japanese. It's just about this cat that comes into this man and woman's house. Like, that's kind of it. But it's so beautiful, and it's so much more than that, that I was just like, wow, that's not my genre at all, but I love it. So I do think you have to widen, you know, so I read any genre. C. Claire Do, what are some of the worst books you ever read? Okay, The Duff. Okay, let me get the list out. Let me get my scroll out. The Duff. I really didn't like Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. I thought the second half of it was fantastic. The first half of it was awful. I didn't think it was awful. I just felt it was very kind of like she wanted to write about something, and she did. But as an author, you have to edit certain things. So I write short stories because I one day want to. I say this like all the time. I want to publish a short story collection of my work. But there's a lot of short stories where I think that's kind of personal to my life, or I've been inspired by something in my life, and that story means a lot to me. But it's not a very interesting story. Like to anyone else, no one cares, Hannah. So obviously I wouldn't put that in the collection. So I think you have to, you know, separate yourself. And when you're writing about yourself, that must be very difficult. There's a lot of books that I'm like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's how I feel. I mean, there's some that are just terrible, like, you know, The Hidden Cottage, awful book. But there's some like The Prime Miss June Brody. Muriel Spark is a really good author, and that book was just, I was reading it thinking, oh god, this bit's fantastic, and then it just slothed its way through. So yeah, there's a lot of books that I'm like, ugh, god. The Great Gatsby, again, is one that I'm like, ugh, god. But yeah, I'm gonna now go over to my other video, which is from October, that's got some questions on it, and just kind of go through some of them. It's getting a bit long, so I'll finish it in a minute. Live Between the Lines. What book series haven't you read that you are embarrassed or ashamed of? I'm not ashamed, but like I haven't read Harry Potter. I haven't read a single book of the Harry Potter thing because I didn't used to read when I was a kid. I haven't read that. I'm working my way through. My like throat is getting really dry. My throat's like. I'm working my way through the series of Unfortunate Events. That's bad. And also the Chronicles of Narnia. Also, this mug, I absolutely love it, but it's like a bowl. Like when I was in the shop, I didn't seem this big. But yeah, there's no series. I'm like, you know, I haven't read Lord of the Rings. I'm not really ashamed of it. What is a book that you dislike that everyone else seems to hate? This was kind of asked earlier. Do you prefer coffee or tea? Coffee every single time. Most importantly, can we be best friends because you're so good? Oh, thank you. Yeah, we can be best friends. Let me get to some questions. Super Shuri Shuri asks, the scariest fable / book of your childhood. I didn't used to read as a child. I really didn't. But I would say the scariest like character from my childhood was definitely Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. And when the Maleficent film came out with Angelina Jolie, I absolutely loved it. That film makes me cry. So it's so weird that as an adult I love Maleficent, and I do often say I look like Maleficent. I mean, I don't know why I've done my eyebrows that dark today. That's unnecessary. Oh well. But I do look like Maleficent, but I used to hate her as my child, like really, hate. And also Rasputin from the Anastasia film. Oh, it's giving me nightmares. If you could live in a book, which would you choose? Probably like Beatrix Potterland, where everything's fine and okay. Your favourite genre of music, singer or band? Billie Holiday is my favourite singer of all time. She was just incredible. I don't feel like anyone's reached as good as her yet. Amy Mizzy Miraculous Ladybug. Ooh, I like that. What is your favourite book series? Probably Mary Poppins. What are your favourite types of books to read? Horror. Some of these questions are the same because obviously that video was like a lot older. Who would be some of your book boyfriends if you could bring them to life? I really don't know. If it was like book girlfriends, then like Mary Poppins, straight away she'd be incredible. She'd be like so sassy and fun. But yeah, no, I don't know, for like book boyfriends, probably. I don't actually know. I don't know. These are more like comments than questions, so I don't want to just read out like comments. I like dating advice. Don't ask me dating advice, like I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, these are all like random questions, so they're not really book related questions. I'll do some of them. So Olga Starenki, one place you've always wanted to travel to, that would be India. I've always wanted to go to India, and I've always wanted to go to Las Vegas. I think I'd love Vegas so much. And top 3 things on your bucket list. Top 3 things on my bucket list. I'd quite like to get 2,000 subscribers on this channel, because I just feel like that would be a really cool number. And I remember when I was 14 and I started another channel, and I used to upload all the time on it and no one subscribed. I used to, like, for about a year, like I'm talking every other day, I would upload something, and it wasn't never book related because I wasn't a reader when I was 14. But it was all like weird sketches and just me chatting, which now is quite nice to look back on that footage. But no one subscribed, and I remember thinking, like, imagine if you got 2,000 subscribers. And that was always the number. I don't know why, but that was always the number in my head that I was like, oh, imagine. And so it'd be quite nice for like my 14-year-old self to be like, oh no, I have got 2,000 like subscribers. So yeah, that's my bucket list. Another thing is to publish my short story collection. That is like the main thing on the bucket list, to be honest with you. And then the third thing is probably just to be happy, to find some kind of contentness with myself and with my image, like the way I actually look naturally and who I am as a person, to just be kind of content with it and not always embarrassed or kind of feel shameful, or, you know, just to kind of be myself a bit more. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the Q&A. I hope you enjoyed this. If you've got any other questions for like my next Q&A, then leave them down below, and I will see you in a few days' time for my weekly wrap up. So yeah, bye.